in the black lines.
Hey YouTube, figure I'd actually push out another episode here, see how it went. The first one went so well, I was just kind of blown away by it. Like, I was expecting a bunch of negativity, but actually everybody seemed to be really positive. Before we get it started, actually I want to preview where we're at with the current mod I'm working on. It's called police orders. I've given it out to some of the other guys for testing reasons, just kind of work out some of the kinks. I'm gonna go ahead and showcase where we're at and talk about maybe the time frame of the release and all that noise of how long it's actually gonna take. So the police orders, I'll kind of cover what it's actually meant for. It's not meant for like telling a guy to drop a gun or anything of that nature. It's not meant to like control a hostile situation. It is, however, meant to control the suspects that are kind of in a peaceful manner. Like maybe you're investigating somebody, or even to the point where maybe the guy's getting out of his car and he's just in the wrong spot in the highway, and you need to get him out of the street. So I changed it up, like key-wise, how it works. It used to be left shift and right mouse down to trigger it, but now it's going to be the right mouse down and C. The left shift, it interfered with what you needed to do. Like, say if you were in a shootout, a lot of people use shift to run, and what happens with that scenario is I do checks to make sure when you're about to use it that you have your weapon away, because you're supposed to have your gun away. Like, the whole aiming at people and trying to obtain ID, it just seems a little bit overboard, and we're gonna ignore that because right now we're just actually trying to showcase something. That's right, look at my partner, all talk. Anyway, so you can see I gave this guy a simple order move, and he'll go in front of the officer kind of just wherever you kind of point, and that'll lead to like being able to control him pretty well. And now I'm holding C down and the right mouse button to bring up this option. You have to keep it held, and to select something you just move the mouse in the direction of what you see. So I can go ahead and frisk this person by moving it down to the left. Once the option's highlighted, you'll see your prompt in the top left. Searching will often yield an ID, which can be ran in the computer system. Now I'm going through the motions, searching them, and he'll actually yield weapon. I wish they would conclude that shootout already. Anyway, he'll actually yield weapon systems, things like that. Like, see, we found a knife on this guy, so he'll stay put there. We can even have our partner cover him, but he can also make the conscious decision to run off whenever he wants, like if LCPDFR takes control of him. Now, the next feature that we kind of added is in the top left, you can see that you have a sticky note, you've got the guy's ID still, and it's the recent contacts. So you can actually go into the database system now and type in this character and actually get the data sheet on him from LCPDFR. So it actually ties in pretty well. So we see this guy that we stopped, he's got a valid license 4 times, no active warrants, and he had a knife on him. So I mean, depending on the given situation is how you can handle it from there. And you can do a whole series of different types of orders. You can see you've got order to stay put. I've got his knife, I searched him, he seems secure. If you don't plan to do anything with him, then you can tell him to drop his hands. This is not even a huge issue. You can order him into the back of your car. I've just got done searching the fella. He doesn't have any weapons on him. I ran him in my system, but maybe I still want to hold on to him for a little bit. So I'll actually go and kind of hop in the car. And I kind of got rid of, how when you detain people using LCPDFR, they like sprint to the car like crazy fast. I didn't really like that. There's not a whole lot else I could do. Like, I could add more detail to it, but I don't know how far I'm actually gonna take this. So now we're done with the person. If we're gonna release him, we gotta remember we have his ID. So you go back up to him, you return the ID to the owner, and he'll freak out and run off because there's been a shootout going on for 5 minutes now. I'm not even gonna ask any questions. I am not on duty. I'm just showing stuff. You guys were like 3 feet away from each other and just completely failed to hit each other. I mean, I do use the inaccuracy script for pistols because when you put the little blimp on their head and you can see the inaccuracy and consistencies that I use. So that's another little realistic mod. 'Cause I don't, even if you're a competition shooter with a pistol in a stressful situation, you're really not going to have that great accuracy. But yeah, I just wanted to showcase that to you guys and where we're at. I think I'm going to roll with this footage even though we've had so many rude interruptions, and I anticipate probably being done in another 2, maybe 3 weeks. I really want to polish this one over, mainly because when I use it, I know what areas to avoid in usage and how to stay out of dangerous spots and how to get it to work correctly. But I found that giving it to the other testers, they were having difficulty, you know, applying it with certain situations that it wasn't really meant for. So, you know, I'm working on speeding up how fast the menu pops up, like removing doubt that you're using it right or wrong, and things like that. Again, this is not meant for the fleeing suspect. This is meant for the guy that's cooperating, or the weirdo you find in the alley at 3 in the morning that you want to investigate, you know, to get the guy out of the highway that doesn't, like, displayed any, like, hostile results. Maybe you've got a normal traffic stop and you want them to step out for whatever reason. And, you know, it also helps combat, like, when you got the guy this close to the car and you're actually going to search him. It prevents the car from disappearing. If you just have him, like, move away, move him to a safer location, maybe in front of your cruiser, and then go about the motions of actually checking them out. So it really just adds depth to the peaceful encounter. I'm really debating about doing one that's also for, you know, hostile persons. Maybe, you know, instead of walking up to the window and getting shot at because you feel like it's a bad call, you could, you know, order them out at gunpoint. But that's just talks. That's not in development. We'll see what I get into and how that goes. I got a lot of things I want to make in a short amount of time, and we'll just see what's going on from there. So we'll go ahead and get geared up to start our normal patrol out. We'll ignore all the shenanigans of what's been happening here, and you can see it's 02:18 in the morning, 2:18 in the morning. We'll go ahead and tell dispatch that we're no longer witnessing 2 people failing to kill each other and that we're ready for our duty. And we'll just kind of go about our business. Let me make sure I got everything turned on here. I like to make sure that I'm running the AMPR. And we'll kind of clear out of this area. I'll kind of do suggestions at the end of this shift to, like, talk to you guys about how to avoid crashes, why they happen, and things like that. I might actually just kind of ramble at the end of every episode with tips about installing and usage and why you might be crashing, and we'll kind of go from there, see if that's something you guys like, that you're interested in. But one of the things is to actually clear out and let Grand Theft Auto 4 take back control of things in terms of despawning, make sure it cleans up well before we start creating an even bigger mess. And the fact that I still hear the ambulance going off is an indicator to me that, like, it's probably good to clear out of the area. But as always, you know, we're not running any type of radar. If people outrun us and they get away, you know, that kind of thing happens in police work.
An officer in need of assistance for a traffic violation in Easton.
So this is actually pretty good. This is another one of the mods that I'm developing. Well, developed. I think it's almost coming to an end. It's actually pretty decent. It's responding to assist the officer with a backup call for a traffic stop. You never know what you get. Sometimes it'll be felonies, sometimes it'll be normal, and I didn't even actually see what that one was, but we'll go ahead and respond to it in code, just because, again, I didn't catch it. Might just be a normal traffic stop. And I would have liked to get out of the area, just like I said, because all the spawn issues that I've seen from when we were just trying to showcase that one script. But I think we'll go ahead and at least run this one before we kind of clear out. Alright, so it looks like it's probably going to be a normal traffic stop. I'm not going to stress over it too much. I'll probably put down my coffee, and we'll go link up with the officer. So he stopped him from blowing through a red light. Okay, and whenever we want to kick it off, we can go ahead and press the R key. You can see you're prompted at the bottom. Probably going to have my partner move to a location right up here. And we're just going to kind of provide overwatch for him. I'm going to have him hold that position. I'm going to let this officer know I'm ready so he can kind of initiate. You can see he's approaching up to the vehicle. I'll probably stand right here at the back area of the quarter panel, kind of eye my way into the car, see if I see anything out of place, see if the guy's got anything suspicious. So this guy chose to disrespect the officer, just from what he's saying. We'll see how this officer handles it. He's got his ID now, and he's actually going to run him back in his car and, you know, see if the guy's got anything wrong with him or whatnot. And again, these guys, I try to keep some of the calls more realistic. Like, not everything show up here, shoot person, you know, call EMS, roll out. Like, sometimes it's nice to have things that are uneventful, because what that does is kind of create complacency. And once you get complacent is when you're probably going to get balled up when, you know, you least expect it. So you can see he's got his clipboard. He's probably planning just to issue him a citation. Everything kind of went smoothly. We'll just make sure that nothing bad happens as he's finishing it up. And alright, yeah, he thanked him for his cooperation. That's kind of the end of that call out. And we'll go ahead and tell our partner to regroup, and once we get back in our car, we'll let dispatch know that we're cleared out in 10-8 back in service. Oh, there it is. First 10 code used. That we're 10-8 back in service and ready to roll. Alright, so we can kind of clear off of that.
Please
And,
disperse.
again, we'll probably try to work our way away from whatever ambulance feels that they need to just kind of circle the block at 2:22 in the morning with their siren on. But hopefully we don't get a call back to this area. Because like I said, if I am free and I'm not investigating anybody, I do like to respond to whatever call I can get and kind of do it as realistically as I can. It's kind of odd seeing a nice car like that in this little spot of town, but we'll keep cruising. So lately I've been putting more and more like real cars into my game. I'm slowly doing it. Real cars can really make your game crash very fast. You gotta make sure the cars are made well. Like, you don't want to put anything that's like hellaciously big. Like anything over like, you know, 1.5 MVs is kind of ridiculous. Alright, so we got this guy actually just rear-ended somebody, so we're gonna try to pull into a good little clear spot. We're gonna watch that Bronco there and see what he gets into. If he turns it back there, we'll probably pop a UE and go after him, because he's definitely at fault for a traffic accident. We'll kind of just sit tight. The guy probably knows he's actually about to get checked out. We'll go ahead and tell dispatch that we're gonna be busy. He just hit another person, so yeah, we're definitely gonna be checking out this guy.
I order you to stop that vehicle.
And I know that one of you guys said that my headlights were a little bright. I definitely agree with you. I'm gonna be this is one of my new builds, so I'm definitely gonna be kind of sifting through that and making the adjustments accordingly, and trying to get that down a little bit, because that's glaring pretty well off the back of his vehicle right now. So we're going to run this plate like we always do, angle our car a little bit, try to make traffic go around us. And this guy's uninsured, so we're going to use a little bit of caution when we go up to him. Not necessarily going to have my pistol out for somebody that's uninsured. I've actually known a few people that rode dirty like this, so they're not bad people. But we'll see what happens. Alright, he definitely has been pulled over for aggressive or careless driving based off the limited categories we have. I'm going to ask for his ID. And we're definitely going to check out this guy pretty well. We'll probably get him back in our cruiser and, you know, conduct a breathalyzer and all that stuff. And see if he's been drinking, because there's no reason for him to rear-end 2 people when he sees he just passed the cop. We'll get back into the car here, pop him in and run him. That guy does not look like a hung Lloyd. Alright, so he hasn't been stopped very frequently. He's only had one citation. He's valid. And, you know, LCPDFR doesn't really worry about the date of birth and things like that in correlation to what the people look like. So, I mean, I know some of you guys have given, you know, Jeff a lot of issues about that, but he's 100% right. Like, they don't really coincide. So, you know, I'm just going to have this guy step out.
The vehicle and place your hands on the roof.
And we'll go from there. So you kind of end up in a bad spot right here. I'm not sure I exactly want him to be in this area, so I can kind of push him over here on the sidewalk a little more if I see fit. Kind of get him even more out of traffic a little bit once we get him to the proper location. And, you know, I'm going to go ahead and, you know, tell him to stay put with his hands up.
Ugly. Walk away.
And I'll have my partner cover down on him because I don't like to really approach anybody, you know, and have my partner in the improper position. Hopefully he'll actually cover down. We'll see. Oh, he wants my spot. Alright, so he's actually at least got his firearm out. We're going to try to do one more cover order, and then I'm going to bail on that. Yeah, we're going to actually have to frisk this guy.
That's the perp. Stop.
So we'll run through the normal motions for frisking this guy. And, see what we got going on here. And then we'll probably detain him in the vehicle and administer a breathalyzer in the vehicle. And if it all goes well from that point, then I'm going to tell him to get back in his vehicle and give him a sight. Nope, never mind. That's over with now.
Ivan, it is good you call. Please excuse. There is mining for all.
Place both of your hands.
So we're going to go ahead and make the arrest on this guy. We're going to charge him with, you know, of course, the weapon that we found on him. You can't really be rolling around with a weapon like that. And we're also going to be hitting him up with the traffic violation tickets for actually ramming into somebody. And we're actually going to see if we can also finish out with a breathalyzer, just kind of double check this guy. And we'll search the vehicle, of course. That's why I got my partner kind of covering down on him right now. You know, I might leave the vehicle here. It just depends if he's been drunk or not. You know, I can't really distinguish if it's his vehicle or not. That would be a kind of a cool feature. That would like be the ultimate deciding factor. Because, I mean, you don't have to just rip these cars away from people. Sometimes other people own them. And it would be nice to like have the ability to kind of calm down. So I'm going to conduct a breathalyzer test on this guy. See if he blows over. I think this is in UK results. You know, he hasn't been drinking, so I guess that's good at least. But since we're actually taking him in, probably gonna take his vehicle as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and call a tow truck for this thing. And let's see if the tow truck guy makes it in here without destroying this little Mazda here. We'll tell our partner to hop in with us. Here comes the tow truck. This is going to be good. I'm actually going to move my vehicle and kind of clear out of the way a little bit. See how this guy handles it. We'll go ahead and kill our lights since the tow truck found us on scene well.
Station WF578, Zone 31, Precinct 104 and 112. At this time,
Alright, well, at this point, like, I crashed back there, but it's important to not just crash and keep playing. It's more important to kind of step back and look and see what actually happened. So I was kind of wondering what I was actually going to talk about at the end of this one in terms of crash prevention and tips for making LCPDFR more reliable. But since I crashed, let's talk about that one. Because it happened when I looked away from the tow truck. It's one of two things. It was either a fatal crash from the tow truck script that I was using, or it was a fatal crash from the vehicle failing to delete properly. Now, in my scenario, I've always had a very, very, very high success rate with the tow truck script. And, you know, since I've just added these new and realistic vehicles, like that was one of the Broncos. It wasn't the normal, I think it might have been called a Landstalker. I'm not positive on the Grand Theft Auto 4 vehicle names. But because of that happened the second I looked away, I know that it's an event that was tied into that specific script or that specific vehicle. So now, because that's kind of unreliable in my terms, what I'm going to do, the easier method for me is I love that tow mod. I need to keep that tow mod. So I'm gonna remove that vehicle and replace it with a stock one, or make sure Grand Theft Auto 4 uses, you know, a different vehicle. And I'm going to see if that alleviates the problem. And I'm pretty sure in my circumstance that it will, through my own personal experience, because the tow truck script works very well for me. And that's something you guys have to really pay attention to. It does not take much at all to make Grand Theft Auto have a fatal crash or even a script crash. And if you're not stepping back and looking at why this is happening or how it's happening, then, you know, you're just going to continue to have, you know, a poor game experience. So, you know, when people say install mods slowly and you use them slowly and kind of determine what works for you, they're not joking, because if these mods hang up at any point or lose a section of code or create a really bad reference and they try to remove something that, you know, shouldn't be removed, it'll create a fatal crash. It does not take much at all to crash Grand Theft Auto 4 or LCPDFR. So, you know, one of the things you guys can do is, if you want these custom vehicles, like I want them, and I'm going to continue to try to get them in there. But if you want these custom vehicles, you know, install them slow, maybe a couple of cars here and there, and see if it's within your tolerance. You know, preview the cars in OpenIV or Spark before you put them into your game. Make sure the meshes look correct, make sure everything's lined up, and, you know, don't go hellaciously over in polys. While higher polys generally do mean higher detail in a vehicle and, you know, more work put into something, you can have a vehicle that looks very, very, very good and be very low poly. What that means is that you've got a very skilled individual that is, you know, a 3D modeler. He really knows what he's doing if he can accomplish a very, very good looking model at a lower poly. The second you start increasing your memory usage for this game is the second you really start increasing your fatal crashes. You know, installing these vehicles, I like them because I like to lean towards realism, so I do like to see a Mazda 3 or, you know, a Suburban rolling down the street. But in the same sense, if it's going to take away from your playtime, you know, you got to kind of weigh if it's actually worth it. And what's not working on my system might work great on your system. What's not working on your system might work great on my system. So you have to individually test it and actually dedicate time. Just in closing, you know, I'm going to thank, you know, Jeff. You know, Jeff's been really good talking to me about audio levels and giving me tips and advice. Steve Trackboys, you know, he's Steve Trackboys 55. He's kind of really always been back there for me too as well, in terms of, you know, letting me figure out what I need to do. I'm gonna try to keep these videos short, probably around 15 to 20 minutes. So I felt like that was a good tie-in time. If you guys want to continue to hear tips at the end of the videos, if you think it helps you, if it's encouraging and you like it, let me know. This is something I can continue. Help my channel grow. Like, let's mold it together. Like, I'm already amazed at the amount of subscribers that I've shot up, and, you know, it's probably due to these other bigger guys like supporting me and getting behind me. And, you know, I can't even start to express, you know, how I feel about that. Like, that is cool to be, you know, backed by these people and kind of held by these people in terms of getting guidance and stuff like that, because YouTube is a lot more deeper than what you guys think. I really appreciate you guys watching. I really appreciate y'all clicking the like button, leaving comments. I really enjoy interacting with y'all, and I'll catch you guys at the next one. I really hope you enjoy this kind of short episode and showcase of the next mod that's coming out. Later, guys.